Hi, everyone. Welcome to the next episode of the SHEP Alumni Spotlights. My name is Jenny Lee, and I did my Shepherd internship in 2016 at LIFT DC. Today, I have the pleasure of chatting with Cathi Hilpert, a SHEP alumna who is the Director of Marketing Communications at Water Mission in Charleston, South Carolina. Cathi, thank you so much for taking your time today to share your story.
Thanks for having me.
So I wanted to kick off this interview by asking you what motivated you to get involved with the Shepherd program and what was your internship experience like? And if you could tell us where you interned, that would be great.
Of course. I was extremely excited to participate in the Shepherd program. I was actually a part of the very first group of interns. And whenever I took my first religion class with Professor Beckley at Washington and Lee, it kind of set me on this trajectory of just being really interested in this whole topic of just better understanding the issue of poverty from lots of different points of view. And I took sociology classes, economics, religion. There were all these different perspectives on it. But none of that really gives you the actual real world experience of knowing the actual people and what their lives look like and really being invested in it from that perspective. So whenever I knew there was an opportunity to do it, I just knew if they would have me, I would want to go. There really wasn't anything holding me back. I was just really excited. I was specifically interested in urban issues and so really knew that I wanted to focus on more of a city environment. And so I decided to intern at Dorchester Bay Economic Development Corporation. And I was a print journalism major. It was a good fit for me because I was able to use some of my writing skills while I was there. I helped them produce a newsletter that summer that they could use to help send out to folks and just cultivate relationships with partners and donors. And I also got the opportunity to be a part of a summer camp that they run. And I also shadowed their community organizers on their staff as well. So I really got a full 360 view of everything that they did and really how they operated and the ways that they interacted with the community. But I think for me, what really stuck with me is just getting to know the families and the children in the camp and really kind of having some context to what I was learning in the classroom, because I think that sometimes when you're, reading or learning about a subject, there can be some distance there, and you maybe make assumptions that aren't always accurate. And so I think being there really taught me so much about one, just the struggles and challenges that they faced, but also just the fact that we were just connected in so many different ways and had so many things in common that maybe I didn't anticipate. That there was a lot that I really learned from that. I learned what it was like to be a minority. It was one of the only experiences in my life where I looked different than everyone else. And I think that was really helpful for me to have that experience and perspective. And I learned so much about just different cultures and just where everyone, just their stories, how they ended up there and where they wanted to go. It was just really inspiring to be a part of it. And I think also really motivating to want to continue a lot of what I learned there and to apply that in my professional career.
Yeah, I never had the chance to take a class with Harlan, but I definitely liked that, you could adapt the coursework to different classes. And it sounds like you got to play a couple different roles in your internship itself. So that was really cool. So did your internship, did you feel influence your path to working at your current job at Water Mission?
Yeah, I definitely think it influenced my path. I took a very circuitous path, though, to get here. Whenever I graduated, I just explored a lot of different opportunities. As I mentioned, I was a print journalism major, but I ended up going into public relations, which ended up being pretty strategic, seeing as a lot of newspapers have closed and the landscape of print journalism is much different today than it was as a 1999 graduate. So a lot has changed in the marketplace. But I started out my career in nonprofit, but more in the hospital public relations side of things. And so a little bit applied, but not a lot. There were some community outreach programs that I was a part of as a part of being a hospital PR person, but it wasn't quite as directly connected as what I do today. So over the course of my professional career, I've worked in agency environments for a marketing and PR agency. I've also worked, like I said, in nonprofit, in school and hospital settings. And then also just for corporate folks, a lot of the agency work that I did was on the corporate side. And so I've really been exposed to kind of the gamut of a lot of different work situations. And I think that what I learned through that is what led me to Water Mission, and what really made me want to take this position was I want to be connected to the work that I'm doing. I thought about what really motivates me in my work, what makes me get out of bed in the morning, and what was I put on earth to do? What am I called to do? And so I really feel like by working at Water Mission, I'm able to feel really great about the contribution that I'm making. Whenever we all have hard days at work, but whenever I get something really encouraging, like right now we're responding in Texas to people who don't have water after the historic Arctic storms that happened. And so whenever I hear just a really cool story about someone who says, I haven't had running water in 2.5 weeks, and you guys made this repair and it's life-changing for us, and thank you. Like, it just really reminds me of, oh, that's why I do what I do. Or if I see a story about a refugee and, how we've impacted their ability to get clean water and be able to live a healthy life, and for girls not having to walk for water, because then they're able to go to school and they're able to have a future. And so just being able also to share that with my kids has been hugely impactful. Like, I have a kindergartner who tells his classmates about, like, there was a hurricane in Honduras and we need to get them safe water. And he has this whole understanding that most kids don't have. And so it's funny to hear his teachers be like, yeah, he was educating all of us about safe water. But it's been really cool to be able to inspire my kids with that too. And just to say, like, hey, there can be a connection between your passion and the way that you've been gifted, the talent that God has given you, and then how you can apply that to really make an impact on the world. And so I think that's just been a seed that was planted with the Shepherd program to say, like, there is a way that you can take your gifts and use them to make a positive impact. And so that's something that has stayed with me, as well as just some of the basic program and community development principles that I learned. A lot of that applies even in the international context. So that's been really cool to see as well.
I think it's great that your kids are getting to see like what you do and it's impacting their lives. And I do think like that motivation and that sense of purpose is really key. If you could give advice to current Shepherd students looking to harness their passion and experiences from their internships to pursue a social justice career, what would that advice look like?
Yeah, I would say if this is the path that you want to take, I would just encourage someone to just not to give up. I think a lot of times getting that first job, especially out of college, is challenging and overwhelming. And especially in a strange landscape like we're living in right now with COVID. I personally paid my way through college and had a ton of debt. And I was like, how do I do this? How do I make this all work? And so I think that I would just be encouraging and say there are so many different paths that you can take. And even if like I didn't get straight to the role that I'm in today, but I knew that's where I wanted to get to eventually at some point. And so I would just encourage folks listening to just have perseverance and resilience, and to just be really open to what those experiences are, because a lot of the skills are transferable. For example, I personally, whenever I learned about Water Mission, of course, safe water is a huge issue, but I don't know that I was super passionate about the global water crisis or knew a lot about it to start with. And so I think that what I was probably more passionate about was hunger issues. But then when I learned more about the role that water plays and how, if you're really trying to help, especially in an international context, trying to help bring a community and provide opportunity, that water is really the basis. Like, you could build a school, but if there's no water, girls have to go get water. They can't be there. They're going to be sick. They can't actually, benefit from the school. So I think I'm just learning more about it, being open to all the different opportunities that are out there, because then once you have those skills, they are going to transfer to other nonprofits and other contexts. And there's so much potential that you can tap into just having that experience. And if you're not sure, there's so many internships and you can get into even as a graduate if you're still trying to figure out where you want to go, as an employer, I can tell you if I'm like, oh, they clearly have a passion, they're pursuing this, they have a path, and they're, doing that and getting experience through internships, or trying to find creative ways to get into the door, even if it's by being a volunteer, or by doing some other ways that they're getting engaged, and maybe it's not on a full-time level, but they're showing that they have a clear path and a commitment and a dedication to making it happen. So that would be some words of advice.
Yeah, as a relatively recent graduate myself, I've definitely been experiencing the kind of like changing paths and just figuring out what's the next best step. So it's definitely encouraging to hear that those experiences will work out and pay off in the long run. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. So thank you, Cathi, for catching up with me today. And thank you all for watching this episode of the SHEP Alumni Spotlights. If you're an alum who would be interested in participating, please reach out to Danielle. Bye, everyone.
Bye.